for this. Let me know if you see if it's up, darling. Hello, Father.
Hey, Bill.
He's already gone. He left us. He quit. I just gotta make sure to mute us.
Oh, crap. I forgot to.
Hey now, we're live.
Oh, we are?
I think so. Looks like it.
Thanks for telling me.
Hello, everyone. Happy Tuesday. So brought back by popular demand, everyone asked for Dad Bag. Although I will give him some credit, he is currently digging a hole. So he is taking his time out of his busy scheduled day to be joining us, even though he's going to get something to drink. We already got our fizz. What kind of fizz are you drinking today, Mike?
Citrus and Mind Health.
Ooh, yummy. Awesome.
Yep.
Okay, so we got Corey, Michael, Aquatic Sausage, Kim. What's that, honey?
I'm still stirring it.
Stirring it. Hi, everyone. Hello, hello. I think I might have this properly set up now so I can see everything. Although you can hear everything going da-ding, da-ding on my end. Sorry about that. Let's get out.
So
how's your morning?
Oh, come on.
Jinx, you me a soda. I like your polka dotted coffee mug.
Yeah, well. Beggars can't be choosers.
Exactly. All right. Oh, Harbat said he's back for more abuse. Jeez. You know, someone said that if you quit racing, you can do stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
Oh, man. All right. So Peter, right off the bat, asked, hello, Dad. Thanks for joining us. What do you think about racing with no fans at the track but doing pay-per-view?
No, I guess any kind of racing is better than no racing. And
Totally agree.
It'd be a little different, you know. I mean, kind of used to seeing people in the stands, but I still like to race, but you know, we'd have to do what we got to do and what times we're in, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's for sure. James asked I'm sure you have all the memories, but what one memory in particular at Penn National?
Penn National?
Yeah.
Hey, I don't know. You got a lot of memories there. I know we. I don't know. It's been a while ago. I know we sold one of our cars to Mike Clay one time, and I think in the warm-ups or the heat race, I blew up the 126, and he offered the car to me, and we jumped in and put tires on it and stuff, and went out and won the feature with it. I mean, it was one of my old cars, but it wasn't like we got it ready or nothing. Mike did all the work and stuff, and I thought that was pretty cool. I mean, there's probably a lot of memories up there, but that's the one that sticks in my mind the most.
What was unique about that track? I was never able to go there.
Did you get it? What was unique about that track?
Penn National, it was I think Linda Vicari built it, and it was modeled after Reading. And it wasn't exactly like Reading, but it was a very nice track. It was kind of flattish, didn't have much banking, and had a concrete wall around the outside. And it was one of those tracks, either you ran the top or the bottom. You didn't normally cross in the middle or run across the middle, or, I mean, back then we didn't do slide jobs. They weren't part of racing back when Penn National was running. So I don't know what it would have been like today, but back then you either entered on the bottom, stayed on the bottom, or entered on the top and stayed on the top. And that was the way Reading was. There was, a top and a bottom. And it made for good racing, side-by-side racing. I mean, I remember many a times with Ronnie Tobias, I'd be running the top and he'd be running the bottom, or vice versa. And we'd run lap after lap, side-by-side. And, that's what the fans want to see, good side-by-side racing. And keep them on their seat, hollering and cheering and stuff. And, that track was like Reading. That was the way it was built. And it kind of produced good racing, side-by-side racing.
All right. Brian took our advice and went and looked up your wins for 410, 59 sprint car. 40, 59, 410 sprint car wins.
59.
59.
Okay, yeah.
That's pretty good.
Cool.
That's incredible for like not your primary division for your career, and it's probably way up there with a lot of people who do race that for their whole career that are really good.
Did you ever how long did you actually run sprints full time?
Sprints, I don't know if I ever really ran them full time. I mean, one year, I think 94, I ran Williams Grove Friday nights, and then I'd run Sillians Grove Saturday nights, and I think Penn National Sunday with a B&F car, and so that was probably one of my most fullest years, and it paid off because that's the year we went to Syracuse, and we really had a good team. We had our car figured out and stuff, and but I don't, I don't ever really remember, even through the 90s when I ran sprints. I mean, I used to run Flemington on Saturday nights on pavement for Dick Barney. And I think I ran Williams Grove for Zemco, Dick Barney on pavement. And I think by 95, Penn National was closed. So I really didn't have a Sunday track. But as far as full-time sprints, I don't think I ever really maybe just ran full-time sprints. It was always one or two nights or specials or whatever. And that's what I remember about that.
I got a good question. You got one, babe?
You have go for it.
I'm running with it. All right. So John Doe asks, every race team plays practical jokes on each other or other teams. What's your best practical joke memory?
Ooh, man.
I know you've got a few.
Now let me tell you, Billy is a good practical joker.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not a great storyteller. He's a better storyteller than me, but I can remember some of the things that he cracks on the way into the pits. You'll never get by without him saying something.
No.
Yeah, I got a lot of comments. I got to do that, but practical jokes. Man, I'll tell you, I don't know. That's a hard one to remember. You should have given me a little time on that one.
Yeah, that's the tough thing. They put you on the spot here, don't they?
Yeah. I mean, to think back, 47 years of racing, practical jokes and stuff, and man, I don't know that I don't know. Man,
we can come back to it. If you think of it, we can come back to it. All right. I know there's a lot. I'm never good on the point either. Let's see. Mike, you got one?
I don't. Do you have one?
I thought we were bouncing back and forth. All right. We did so well yesterday. Okay, so Jason asks, or he says, I really enjoyed watching Billy racing at Nazareth Nationals. Did you like racing there, and what were your thoughts on how unique and fast it was? Nazareth,
the mile track we're talking now, right?
Nazareth Nationals.
Yeah, that was the mile track. I didn't run it when it was a mile and 1/8. That was before my time, and it shut down for a while. Jerry Freed built the track, and I think it shut down for a while, and then Vicari got a hold of it and opened it back up and shortened it to a mile. And it was really a cool mile track. It had they called it the tunnel turn. You come down a really long straightaway on the backstretch. There was 3 different length straightaways, so it was really hard to gear the car for the track. But the long straightaway coming down, you come into the tunnel turn, and you would turn, and then you kind of come rise up a hill, come down past the flagger stand, and getting into one, there was a dog leg, and you try to stay up against the wall as hard as you could and dive down through the dog leg and not lift and roll back out to the wall coming off the dog leg. I know I got in too hard with a champ car when I was up there racing with Bettenhauser and had that up on 2 wheels against the wall, and I think I broke the W link and broke a brake line and run the rest of the race with no brakes and the rear shifting around in the car. And I think the injectors were messed up, and they were overriding me and stuff, but we still finished second. I probably had a car that could have won if I didn't run it in the wall and mess it up, but I was trying too hard, and that's the thing of youth. You try real hard sometimes and over try, but Nazareth was, I liked it way better than Syracuse. It was wider, it was more racy, and it was a neat track. It was just different of all the miles I've been on.
Now, I think as a driver, you always seem to learn later on that sometimes slower is faster, or sometimes if you calm down, you're a little faster, or just focus on your line. What type of car?
You do that a lot in New York, you know that.
Yeah. So,
we call New York the slow slippery. Down
right.
here,
So that,
it's you're on the gas, you're on the loud pedal a lot more down at these tracks down here. It's like I laughed. I went to Middletown for that race last summer, the big race, and Middletown slick, and it was extra slick this year with that new clay. And I'm used to hold your right foot down, hold it down, hold it down, don't lift, don't lift, don't lift. And you go to Middletown, it's like, don't put your right foot down, don't put your right foot down, put your right foot down. And it's like it's a whole different mentality of racing between the slow slipperies up in New York and what we've got down here, where you really you use a motor. That always kind of made it tough for me, because I was used to, my setups are all for hookup, and we go up there and it was like, wow, these tracks are slick. But like when I used to go to Fulton there, that was a slick track. That was probably one of the slickest tracks I run, but I'd be running up against the wall because that was the only bite left in the track, and that's what I was used to. And that's why I ran against the wall, because that was the only place I had bite left.
right. So me, with like in New York with wing sprint cars, even you don't use a lot of throttle when it's slippery, and with modifieds you don't use a lot of throttle when it's slippery. I never had a chance to run a wingless car like a Silver Crown car or a wingless sprint car or midget or anything like that. So with those cars, I mean, late models, you seem to have to stay on the throttle no matter what, or it gets off the bars. Do you still have to pedal it a ton with those cars?
I mean, when I ran with them guys, I ran different. They all backed it into turns, and I drove like a modified straight. And actually, we put a modified setup on there, the bar springs and shock combinations on my sprint car when I ran with a SCRA or CRA wingless when they came in, and I just had a different way of driving than they did, and them guys back it in. They really back it in today. I mean, I think they back it in and they think they're going to hit the wall, so they just put their foot flat in it to get the tires to pull them down off the wall. But it just they don't pedal them things. It don't seem like. It seems like they just drive them flat out and slide them in there and just stand on them. I mean, I ain't saying that's the wrong way, but that's not the way I drove them.
Right, which is interesting because I mean, it seems like the best racing is when you got one guy up there doing that on the top and another guy rolling the bottom against him. It's the tracks that can get those two grooves that are most exciting to watch at.
Yeah, that's what makes racing when you got two grooves. If you don't have two grooves, I call it a train race. Everybody's on tracks, you're all in one groove going around, and it's like, how the hell do you pass, And
or they're running over each other for each spot.
It's neat. Like Middletown, I went back there last year. I'm running against the outside wall. I'm running to turn three wide on the outside, and you never did that at Middletown. That was like a death sentence because you were going to crash into the wall, And it's like, wow, there was a cushion up there. It made it exciting, It's like, wow. I always didn't like Middletown, but it's like, that was pretty cool. I could handle racing there because you could run from the top to the bottom up against the wall and make things happen,
So Justin asks, what kept you coming back to dirt track racing when you would also run asphalt?
Geez, I don't know. I mean, that's where I started with. It's just like I started with modifieds, and I ran sprints for a while, and then probably the only thing that really got me on asphalt was Flemington paved. So I didn't have no choice, I mean, they paved over the dirt with pavement, and I had to learn to drive it and do it, and I enjoyed it. I mean, it was something different. you get to a certain point in your life and you look for challenges and something different. And we pretty much mastered dirt, had a good setups and good cars, won a lot of races. And I figured I'd try something different. And, I had a good opportunity with Dick Barney. He always had really good equipment. And when I got a chance to drive that, that's what I did. But I don't know, I just, dirt to me is more fun. It's more challenging. You can move around. It's more car and driver, where I think asphalt's more the car, because it just seems once it gets tight, you can't move around on the track and free it up or do nothing, So I don't know. That's me.
Do you have anything, or am I just gonna ask all the questions?
Only thing I could say is asphalt's definitely better at night, just like dirt racing. When the track cools off, it seems to have a few more grooves or a little more moving around. Especially when they start during the day and end at night. At least it changes, and whoever the first is to pick up on that can get ahead. But when it's in the sun, there's not much passing.
No. I can't find it, but someone had asked, I mean, I know the answer, but someone asked, like, where was your first race? What track?
My very, very first race was Flemington. We loaded up. We were going to Middletown, New York, because I was too young to run Jersey. And it was three of us, me and two of my high school buddies. So we loaded up, and my father was like, I ain't going, so go ahead, you can, you go. I'm not going. So, all right. So we lit out for Middletown. I thought I knew the way there. We got going, we got lost. And it's like, you know what? The hell with this. Let's go to Flemington, So we went to Flemington, and there was three of us. And one of them was Rich Polenz. He used to race. And he looked too young. So we said, well, you can't go, and you look too young. You'll give us away, So he went in the stands, and me and my other buddy went in the pits, and I raced. The only thing I can remember, I got in a little hot, and the 1 and 2 got into the wall, got up, and didn't flip, because that was a big thing at Flemington. They used to have like 100 flips a year there with them wooden walls. You catch them, and it would just turn the car upside down and flip it. But we got away with it, and we thought we were in like Flynn. We come back the next week, and they were waiting for us. They knew I was underage. And that was the end of that, And I think my father went, and he ended up driving the car that night. And then after that, we went back to Fount. Well, he went with me, showed me where Middletown was, and I ran there for the rest of the year till I got old enough to run Jersey.
What was did this happen multiple times, or was it once when you actually had to leave school to go to practice or something? Did you do that?
No, our high school, 100 Central, where I went to high school, was right behind the racetrack. And we used to have, it was called activity period. And a lot of kids would skip out. So I skipped out, walked, the track wasn't that far away. I walked over, the gate was locked. I jumped over the gate and walked over to the office to try to get, I had the money for my pit license, I wanted to get it early and get it done with. And I didn't realize all the gates were locked. And I went in there, and the secretaries are looking at me kind of funny, like, they didn't say nothing like, how'd you get in, but I think they did ask me. And I said, well, I jumped the fence because I jumped in the back. I figured the front gate was open, but all the gates were locked. But they did give me my pit license. I paid for it, and went back, jumped over the fence, went back to high school for the rest of the day.
Back to school.
That would be so cool. So cool. Oh my gosh.
I want to take a second and wish Lindsay Chura a happy birthday. Friend of ours that's been a fan at the races. They come to Charlotte every year, and wish her a happy birthday for me.
Yay. Let's see. What other questions did you find?
I keep looking over that way because I'm looking out the door. My buddy's here, Bruce Hooper, and we're doing a drainage ditch together. And I kind of broke out of this to do this, and I'm just keeping an eye on him, see how he's doing.
Look like
Make sure he's not messing it up.
But me and Bruce, we ran rookies at Flemington in '75. We're in the same rookie class, and that's how I met him, and we've been friends ever since. And I get on a job, like I got a backhoe, and I try to do what I can with it. I'm no big operator or something, but when you put in drainage ditches, you got to have the right pitch and all that. So I bring him in. He's a professional excavator, and he was using my machine and the controls were backwards and he was having a hard time. And he goes, well, you dig. So I got in there and I'm trying to dig across the driveway and I blew a hydraulic line right on the boom, and it blew oil all over top of me, all over the machine and stuff. I'm like, oh boy. So I had to take my second shower today.
Oh, that's why you came home.
Yeah, it made a mess. So he went home, got his backhoe, and that's what we're doing out there. We got his and mine.
Oh my goodness. Always something. Andrew asked, how was it driving for Al Hamilton?
It was good. It was short, one race, you know.
Short-lived, but it's fun.
I've always had good success at Grandview, and Bob Miller runs them Thunder on the Hill shows, and he called me up. I think Hodnick broke his hand or something, and he called me up. He goes, hey, what do you think if I talk to Al Hamilton, see if I can get you in his car? I said, hell yeah, I know he has a good car, you know. So he called Al, and Al was for it. So I showed up at Grandview there, got in the car, and set the belts and the steering and everything to where I liked it. And I never been in a sprint car that had no gauges in it, you know, no oil pressure, no water temperature. And I said, what's the deal? You guys don't have no gauges. They said, well, you'll feel it or smell it. I'm like, okay, that I never heard that before, but I guess you're right, you know. And then Al showed up, and I'm standing there talking to him. He's sitting in his pickup truck, and he puts his hand on my arm, and he goes, hey, he says, son, this ain't no box of eggs. Don't worry about breaking them. I had permission to go out and just dry the balls off the car, but it was really neat. You know, I don't think we got no warm-ups, and our warm-up was our time dash, and I ended up like 8th out of everybody. So it kind of put me in the back of the heat. I qualified, and I think I started 8th or 9th that night. And it's usually pretty hard when you got Fred Raymer and all the good guys in front of you. But we had a good car come up, drove through them, and got the lead, won the race. And Al was pretty impressed with it. But I'm probably, I don't know if I'm the only one, but I can say I have a perfect record with Al Hamilton. 1-1, one win, one race.
There you go.
Yeah,
it's true.
That brings up a question of mine. Do you ever have a ride come up that you felt a ton of pressure to perform because you wanted to keep it, or do you always feel like, well, another one will come along? Then
I don't know. I put more pressure on myself than I do worrying about who I'm driving for or whatever. And there's been a lot of different. Yeah, I drove for a lot of different good people. Heidemann or Chesson and this one and that one. And Bob Faust, I always had a lot of fun with him. You know, he was a tough guy to drive for. He demanded a lot and everything, but it was like, I knew I was good enough I could get another ride if I had to, but so I didn't let him hold it over my head. And I'll never forget, he kept hollering at me every week. I'd show up and like, where's that new uniform? Where's that B&F uniform? Where's that new uniform? I said, Bob, they're special making it, I said, it's going to say B&F on my chest, but it's going to be on Velcro so I can rip it off in case you fire me so I can still use the suit, So if you're talking about practical jokes, that might have been one.
I was just going to say,
good one.
it's gotta come.
And that would drive him nuts, because I would show up and I didn't have my B&F suit, I said, they're special making it now. Be calm. But he was pretty demanding, but a lot of people say a lot of things about Bob Faust, but he always gave me good equipment and we won a lot of races together. He just wanted to run the tour and I wasn't really into the tour. So I think we ran for 2 or 3 seasons, and I think I set the win records at Bridgeport one year. We won 15 races down there, and I actually set out a month with a broken arm or something from a sprint car accident. But we did win a lot of races, and we had a lot of success together. And I'd always thank him for that.
Do you have any other serious injuries besides a broken arm?
Yeah, I broke my left knee in '85, and D.A. Hansen's car, Penn National. I got turned around. A guy come over the front of the car. And actually, he come over the front of the car toward the cage back to about my head. It's like he didn't take my head off, and it caught the steering box and pushed it back into my kneecap and broke whatever holds your kneecap down. So that was '85, and somewhere 98 maybe, I broke my right knee in a sprint car accident at Williams Grove. Got flipping and come down hard and got my knee in a steering box and broke that kneecap bad, and busted my wrist at Flemington in an asphalt car. I got spun around, and I didn't let go of the wheel. I was trying to hold on to it. It snapped broke my wrist.
So, sounds like they were all in sprint cars. Do you have any ideas of your own? You're a very smart engineering type of guy. Do you have any of your own ideas how sprint cars could be built safer, like by the rules, so that everybody had a safer car to drive?
I'm sure, I mean, a lot of it ain't just the sprint car, it's the surroundings you run the sprint car in, it's like gate openings and stuff. I mean, that's what got Greg Hodnett. There was a gate opening at Susquehanna, and they took address to it and changed it and stuff, but it usually happens after somebody gets hurt real bad or gets killed, and a lot of the surroundings, I mean, Williams Grove, you go over the first turn wall, it ain't just over the wall, there's a long drop going down the other side. When you fly and you land in a longer drop, it hurts more, and you get busted up. There's a lot of situations where they could be built a little bit safer, but guys are big on weight, and then you put extra bars in, then they start thinking mentally that the car isn't flexing right. That's why I'm not doing good. But
Sure.
if everybody's got it, you're all in the same boat. You just got to learn to make it work. And if it's for the betterment of racing and making the car safer, I'm all for it.
That's what I'm thinking. If they're all 0.3 slower, the fans aren't going to notice.
No,
They're all 0.3 slower. They're still fast.
Believe me, the sprints could slow down a little bit. They're on the wicked fast side, but they are fast.
So a lot of people I've noticed have been asking, we got you for 4 more minutes. Where you got the nickname Billy the Kid from, or who gave that to you?
That was back in 78. I started driving for John Norsha Trucking, and their team they were based down by Brunswick, and it was called the Black Horse Circle or the Black Horse Drive or something. So the race team was called Black Horse Racing, and they thought it was pretty cool that that my name was Billy, so they figured, well, Billy the Kid and the Black Horse Racing. So it kind of went together, and that's where it come from. I mean, I didn't start with it. I didn't have no nicknames. So they kind of tagged that on me, and they put it on the car, and that's where it came from. That was the very first Billy the Kid came up.
Forgot about that.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
It goes right along with the team.
So Patty asked, how much does Mrs. Pauch have to do to help you get ready for race day? Mama Bear does a lot.
Yeah, she does a lot. I mean, she's been with me like my whole career pretty much. And, we dated since she was in high school and got married out of high school. And, she used to like, I laughed when I was younger. She worried about me, getting hurt and this and that, and it's dangerous and this and that. And as we got older and we got kids and stuff, it's like I bust my arm, bust my knee or something. She goes, well, you got to get better fast here. We need to get you back in that race car and get you making some money. I was like, what happened to this? I don't want you behind the wheel no more. It's like, I don't care if you get your neck broke now. That's all right, But she's a big part of other than my father, she's been with me the longest in racing to support me and get me through a lot of things.
Mm-hmm. Mike, do you have anything else? I know we got like
in a lot of your videos, I've seen her like cleaning and painting and helping organize things like that.
Yeah,
and
she's dad's
chipping in wherever's needed.
No, she does. She does a lot. I mean, back in the day, she's always helped wash the cars, do what she could do, sell T-shirts to make money. She did tires for years for me at the track. Rather than hire somebody, she would take care of the tire truck and sell tires at the track and stuff. So, it's just, she's just my right hand my right hand.
Right. I'm teaching the little guy right and left.
Yeah.
You're not doing it. Oh my gosh. All right. Anything else? I know Dad's itching.
Oh, it's fine. It's really great to have you on the past 2 days. It's cool to learn about
Cool. You know,
some history.
I enjoy it. If I didn't have to be out there digging in a ditch with Hooper, I'd stay longer. But I gotta, I'm his guy. I gotta get the pipe, do this. I'm his grunt.
At least
Hey, you filled the full-time slot, so we're good.
Yep, you're good. All thanks, Dad.
Yeah, I got a lot of stuff to do around here. There's always something to do. It's never boring. I get that done. I gotta plant trees. I get that done. I gotta dig another ditch. I get that. There's always something to do. Wash the buildings, clean this, do that. So we're not.
You're a
bored.
worker, and that's a good thing to stay busy. Otherwise, you wouldn't be very happy.
Yep.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you.
All right.
You're free to go.
Yep. Thanks for having me. See you later, Mike.
Yeah, Bill. Thanks.
Awesome. All right. So that's a wrap on our Tuesday. I think I'll let you guys know tomorrow. Might have my broha on with us. May as well take advantage of everyone while we're here, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Sweet. So thanks everyone for joining.
He's free for tomorrow at 12:15.
So he says.
Good.
I'll text him and find out. But I'll post on here and on our Facebook page to let you guys know for sure. Otherwise, it'll be our lovely faces. But like I said, I mean, we can get the dog on, but I don't know how good he'll talk for 30 minutes. So.
I don't know if he'd talk, but BP3 would talk.
BP3
if he's in the mood.
Yeah, if he's in the moods for sure. Oh my gosh, awesome. I definitely think a lot of people, you guys were saying to get someone to write a book on Dad. I think that would be awesome.
And they're saying, I would buy that book if he wrote it. So
sure,
it's quite a story.
If you guys got any good writers out there, I do have someone in mind, but I'll have to put that in the works and see what we can come up with. So, and just so you guys know, I'm throwing Dad under the bus. He plays with this the entire time. So Mandy with her OCD whatever issues, this is where I get it.
We all have our own fidget spinners.
Yes. How's your pop socket doing? This is Dad's pop socket.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right, cool. So time for lunch, and thank you guys for joining in. It's been fun. Next up, when we get back home, we'll have to get Mr. Hot Shoe Jim Mahaney on here.
Great. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. So cool. All right. Well, it's been fun. Thanks guys for joining us again. We'll be back here tomorrow at the same time. And stay safe, have lunch, enjoy wherever you are. Maybe it's breakfast, who knows? Would you like to do your see ya?
See ya.
See ya, everyone.